Hello students, welcome to Love for Reasoning. A seating arrangement. So 8 persons are seated in 2 rows. Very good. So immediately I can understand it is definitely a linear arrangement. So row 1 had 4 persons seated in facing the south. Row 2 had 4 persons seated in it and facing north. So overall how many persons are there? 8 persons are there. So please understand over here, in each row we got 4 persons it seems. Okay, in each row we got 4 persons. So this is going to be called as persons who are facing towards the south, and this is where we need to understand persons facing towards north. That is the way you need to represent. Always remember, who are going to face south are going to stay at the top, who are going to face north are going to stay at the bottom. Right, next one, what is it saying? We do not have any clarity. Who are the persons going to come at the north, who are the persons going to come at south? So A faced south and was second to the left of F. So A is definitely south and F is also going to be south. F was seated facing B. So let us understand, A faced south and was second to the left of F. Second to the left of F means if I place F here, okay, do you think any left hand side is available? No, it is not available. F over here. Okay, right. What now? Do you think any second left is available? No, it is not available. So again, this position is not going to be correct for F. So now, if I place F over here, second to the left, yeah, it is clearly available. You can also place F over here. We'll do that later on. Let us observe. F was seated facing B. Okay, so definitely facing B means B is going to stay at north because F is facing south. F and B are facing each other, so I have to do it in this way. F's second left A and F is facing B. Yes, this information we got it right. Now let's move on. Only one person was seated in between E and D. Now please remember, in between E and D, one person is going to stay. I cannot use this information, so I am just writing it down for my future clarity or future, just I'll consider it as a hint. Next, E was neighboring B. It is clearly mentioning E was neighboring B. So neighbor is nothing but either right side or left side, correct? Now if I place E here, D is going to come towards the corner. Now if I place E towards the left side of B, try to understand, if I place E towards the left side of B, because they're all facing towards the north, if I place E at the corner, D is going to come right side of B, because it is mentioning E and D are going to have a person in between them. H was not neighboring D and A. Now for an example, if I place E here, D is going to come. Now what is it mentioning? H was immediate right of the one who is facing G. So H is going to stay immediate right of the one who is facing G. Now if I place G here, G is facing whom? D. D's right hand side is the only vacant position that I can allow H. I do not have any other option. Please understand, H is not facing G. H is actually sitting towards the right of the person who is facing G. Clearly saying H was not neighboring D or A. Now H is neighboring D over here. So I need to go and interchange the persons in between E and as well as D. If I write D here, E is going to stay here. It is never mentioned H is actually sitting towards the right of E or right of D. It is never mentioned. So E is facing G. The person who is facing G, who is it here? E. Now this person is going to have H towards his right side, yes, and the leftover person is C. And you got a clarity also, H was not neighboring D or A. Now H is not neighboring D, H is not neighboring A. So this is the way you are supposed to solve. So let's do the second possibility as well. If I place F here, because F is facing south, F's second right A is there, and F is seated facing opposite to B. Immediate neighbor of B, E should be seated, so there is no other option. I have to bring E here. One person was sitting in between E and D, yes, right? Next one, it is clearly mentioning H is going to sit seated to the immediate right of a person who is facing G. Now if I place G here, okay, now please understand, for an example, if I place G here, G is opposite person's immediate right, I have to bring H. I do not have any option left over here, so I cannot bring G here. Now if I bring G here, immediate right of the person who is facing G, who is facing G here, E. Now I have to bring H over here, but remember it is clearly mentioning that H was not neighboring D or A. That is why this possibility is ruled out. This is the correct one. Let's observe the questions. 4 out of the following, immediately you need to understand this is definitely odd man out. So do not read the entire question. C, G, A, H, T. Let's observe. C is facing south, or you can say that C is staying at corner. G, where is G? G is at the center. A, H, D. So my answer is definitely G, because rest of the 4 are actually staying at the corner, but whereas G is staying at the middle of the row. So that's why my answer is G is my answer. Everybody, I hope you got this right. Let's move on to the next question. What is the next question? It is saying, who among the following was seated immediate right of F? Please do remember, F is facing towards the south direction. Immediate right of F, who is that person sitting over here? C. That's in the option number 1. Right. Next, who among the following was not in row 2? Please understand, row 1 and row 2. This was the row 1. And this was the row 2, correct? It is clearly mentioning row 2 had 4 persons facing towards the north. So this is row 2 and this is row 1. Who among the following was not in row 2? E, B, G. Now tell me, G was not in the row 2. So only 3. Where do you have that option? That option is in the 3. Right. Next, let us observe the next question. What is it saying? What was the position of E with respect to G? See, after the keyword with respect to 2, that particular keyword you need to understand. So with respect to G, what is the position of E? Exactly opposite. So E faced G, that is your option in the 5th. Now let's move on to the next one. What is it saying? Who among the following was seated facing H? Who is actually facing H? It's actually A. Let's observe. Now let us observe here how to solve this question. Now I got very good clues over here. If you leave this H is the sister-in-law of A aside and observe very clearly that L is the mother of H. Let's observe this one. L became the mother. So L is the mother, so definitely a female. L is the mother for whom? H. Next, let us see here. The last information, L has 2 children. So when L has got 2 children, definitely H is going to have a sibling, because L has got 2 children. I do not know who is the next person, but I say H is definitely going to have a sibling. And if you observe the first information, H is the sister-in-law of A. Now I want to use this information, because please do remember this information very carefully. All the information you see in the blood relations are based on the assumptions. Maximum you need to understand. Let us go and apply our theory, and what if we are going to get the answers or not. So now if you understand this, H is the sister-in-law of A. In order to become that H is the sister-in-law, so I can recognize the gender of H as a female. Now H became the sister-in-law for whom? A. So it means definitely H got a sibling and that person got married to A, so that only the sister-in-law relation can be applied. You may have the another theory also, sir, how come you are saying in that way? Why are you not saying that H got married and that spouse sister may be having a sister? Yes, I can also go in that way as well. Let us observe here. But L has got 2 children, so there must be one other person coming over here. Next one, what is the next information? M is the son of Z. Okay. Next, R is the husband of J. A is the daughter of R. Now if I place A here, A became the daughter, right? And A became the daughter of whom? R. I don't know the gender of R very clearly, but if you go back with the previous information, R is the husband of J. When R is the husband, I can confirm the gender of R as what? A male, and R got married with whom? J. This is the way I am going to place it. So J is a female. Okay, so here you know this very information, there are 3 married couples. How? There is only 1 married couple out of 7 members, so 3 married couples are definitely going to be there. So 1 married couple, we got it over here. Where is the another married couple? L is definitely going to have a married couple. I can say L is definitely a married couple. How? Because L already got a daughter and L has 2 children. You cannot say that L is unmarried. No, you cannot say it. Now what is the only information we have it over here? R is the husband of J. The previous information, M is the son of Z. Now if I place Z here, Z obviously becomes male because L is a female and L has got 2 children. Apart from H, there should be 1 person. Now I have to bring M, so that only the condition 7 members are going to be satisfied. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the only way, because L has 2 children. I have to bring M here only. I cannot go with any other option. Okay, now please do understand, M and A are definitely a married couple because there should be only 1 unmarried person in this entire family. So I need to understand M and A are definitely a married couple. So that is why I have placed in this way. How did I decide the gender of M as a male? Because A is a female. I hope you got the question. Right now let's observe the questions given below and understand the answers. Now how is M related to R? So please understand, M related to R is nothing but from M's point of view or R's point of view. Understand the question from your right side person's point of view. Now R is going to call M as what? Your daughter's husband is always son-in-law. So that's your answer. Next one, how is Z related to? How is Z related to A? So what does it mean? Understand the question from your right side person's point of view, not left side. So Z to A or A to Z? It is definitely A to Z. Now A is going to call Z as what? A is going to call Z as what? It is definitely father-in-law because M is the son of Z. So A is going to call Z as what? Father-in-law. That's in the option number 4, I think so. Correct? I do not have that option, but you can understand the answer. How is L related to M? So now tell me, L related to M means L to M or M to L? It is definitely M's point of view. Now M is going to call L as what? Mother. Mother is your answer. That's in the option number 1. Correct? Next question. Okay, now these are the 5 keywords. We got it over here. This is based on the symbols and notations, or you can say alphabetical order that you need to understand here. Now if C is added before each of the given word, if you go and add the C beginning of the particular word, how many meaningful English words? Okay, please understand, meaningful, not just words. Meaningful words should be formed, right? Let us observe. You are going to get CUSC, which is not an English meaningful word, so this is wrong. CAIM, came is also not an English meaningful word. So cage is definitely an English meaningful word. Sink is not a English meaningful word, not the sink where you actually wash your dishes. No, it's not actually that sink. CINK is not an English meaningful word. Next one is crow. Okay, please, is definitely a meaningful word. So how many are there? 2. That's in the option number 3. Correct? Now let's move on to the next question. What is the next question saying? See, I'll try to write down those 5 particular words over here, because which is very important for me to have it there. Now read the question properly. If the letters in each word are arranged in alphabetical order, okay, and the letter in each word are arranged in the alphabetical order, and letter which comes first in alphabetical order in each word is replaced by its next letter, then how many words thus formed will have no vowel? So please understand, if you write them in the alphabetical order, what is it going to be? E, correct? S, U. Now this is already in the alphabetical order, A, I, M, and this is A, E, G, next one I, K, N, next O, R, W. Now this is the alphabetical order, we got it over here. Now your question is asking, after writing them in the alphabetical order, the first letter should be replaced by the next letter in the English alphabetical series. Now if I go with this one, F, next B, next one after I, J, O, P. So how many are not going to have any vowel? So U is a vowel, so this is not my answer. BIM is the word form, but it should not consist any vowel, but I is an vowel, so this is not my answer. B, G, E is also an vowel, so no please. J, K, N, yes, this is going to be my answer because it does not contain any vowel in that particular one. P, R, W, again we do not see any vowel in this particular word. So please understand, the question clearly says you write the given words in the alphabetical order. After writing the given words, the first one should be replaced by the next letter in the English, and these are the words we got it. But he is asking you how many particular words do not have any vowel. So what is the answer we got? Only 2. That's in the option number 2. Let's see this question. It is saying all the distinct letters from all the words. What do you mean by distinct letters? That you are supposed to understand. A is repeated 2 times and E is also repeated 2 times. You are not going to consider them as 2 times. You have to consider them as 1 time. So you call it as a distinct letters. Okay, please make sure you understand that word terminology and arrange them in the alphabetical order from left to right. You need to arrange them in the alphabetical order. Which letter will be the 5th from the right end? So please, after arranging them in the alphabetical order, he is asking us to find out which letter is the 5th from the right end. Then why would I bother to write down in the left to right? I will always go from the right to left. The right to left, I have to find out what is the 5th letter. Why do I bother to write down everything in the ascending order? Rather than I'll try to attack it from the right side, write the alphabets in the descending order or reverse alphabetical order, so that you could get your answer very easily. So do not waste your time arranging each and every alphabet. So let us go and arrange them. What is the highest alphabet you see in the word? W, because the place value is 23. Again, if you want to write down those alphabets, you should have the place value knowledge very thoroughly. And what is the next one you see? It is U. U is actually 21, correct? This is 23, 21. Next one is S. S is what? 19. 19 is the alphabet you got. And the next one is R. R is 18. What is the next alphabet? You have it over here. It is O. So answer is definitely, my answer is what? O is your answer. Clearly, correct? After arranging them in the alphabetical order, he is asking us to find out what is the 5th one from the right side. That is my answer. O is my answer. I cannot tell you which option is it, but I can tell you the answer as what? O. Let's move on to the next question over here. So the next question is saying you, what is it saying? If first letters of each word is replaced by its reverse alphabet. You know what do you mean by reverse alphabet? For your clarity, he also gave you the information saying you that A is replaced by Z, B is replaced by Y. They are nothing but opposite pairs. But you need to apply this opposite pair logic only for the first alphabet, not for the second and third. And again, you have any doubt what do you mean by a reverse alphabet or opposite pair? Just remember, the sum of the two alphabets should be equal to 27. Then only you call them as what? Alphabetical opposite pairs or reverse alphabet. Okay. Now, if you know the place values, then immediately you can identify what is the opposite pair of U. U is 21. How much I need to add so that I can receive 27? Obviously 6. So here comes FSE. Because he mentioned very clearly in the question, it should be applied to the first letter only, not the other two letters. So I'm just applying it. And the opposite pair of A is ZIM ZGE, because if you add 1 and 26 you are going to receive 27. That is what you call opposite pair or reverse alphabet. Am I clear? Next, 9 is the place value of I have to add 18, that is RNK. And the next one is, again we have R here, so I've got IOW. Either side of the word is nothing but either from your right side or from your left side. It should be there in the alphabetical order. Now observe, this is 6, 5 and 19 from your right side. From your right side it's not in the in the alphabetical order. This is 26, 9 and 13. Again you are not facing any alphabetical order here. But if you go from here, 5, 7, 26, this is in the alphabetical order from your right, and this is also 11, 14 and 18. This is also in the reverse alphabetical order from right, from the left, and alphabetical order from your right side. Yes, this is 9, 15 and 23. Now you see this alphabetical order from your left side. So this is also perfect for me because he mentioned either side of the row. We do not have any problem here. So how many we got it over here? 3. That's your answer. Let's move on to the next question. Next question, what is it saying? If the last letter of each word is removed, okay, so please understand, last letter of each given word is removed, then how many words this form will be meaningful words? So now the if the letters as AI, AGINRO, these are the going to be formed. So as is a English meaningful word, IN is a English meaningful word. Rest of them all are not going to be a English meaningful word. Do not take the abbreviations. AI means artificial intelligence. This is also English meaningful word. No, you cannot just take the full forms. Okay, please understand that. So our answer is what? Only 2. That's in the option number 3 here. Let's see the next question of directions over here. Now a person is standing at point P. Okay, let's observe, this is point P. He walks 4 meters to his west. To his west is definitely, this is the point, 4 meters he went over here. Next, takes a left turn. Left turn from the west point is nothing but leading to south. And how much? Now he travels 6 meters. Okay, very good. Now takes a right turn. Again it leads to what direction? West. And walks 3 meters. Okay, very good. Next, he takes a left turn. Left turn is again going to be what direction? Definitely I need to understand it's south. 4. Then again now he walks 7 meters and stopped at, he took a left turn, south to left. See, please understand, south to left is again going back to what direction? East direction. Now finally he went to 7. First this is 3, because when you understood this particular length as 3, so obviously this is also going to be 3. Okay, and when you understood this as 4, so the same length is going to come over here. Now here comes the Q. Correct? Everybody understood? From P he went west for 4 and then 6 kilometers towards his left, which is south. He took a right turn, again west 3 meters. From there he went left, it became 4, and eventually he went to 7. Please understand, till here it is 3 and this is 4. Correct? So now the Q is over here. The question is asking you Q with respect to P. Okay, now the question is asking you which of the following direction is point Q with respect to point P. So from point P onwards, where is this Q? If you understand it properly, it's south is the answer. It's in the option number 4. I hope you got it. Let's move on to the next question. The next question, 8 people live in an apartment with floors number 1 to 4, where 4 is the topmost floor, 3rd floor, and so on. So please understand, whenever it comes to the floors, you need to understand 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the way. 4th one is the top one. 1 is going to be the least one. Whenever we go and observe any building, we start from the bottom, and when it goes to the top, obviously the number is going to be increased. Each floor has 2 flats, that is flat 1 and flat 2. Okay, now each floor has got 2 flats, it seems. Flat 1 is west of flat 2, correct? Flat 1 is west of flat 2. P lives on even number floor. Okay, P lives on even number floor. So P should be living on either 2 or 4, but you do not know where exactly, which flat P is going to come. Whether it is in the first flat or second flat, you don't have any idea. You lived above R. Okay, you lived above R. Above R you lived. And let me write down that information so that it's going to be very easy for us to remember. P is going to live in the even. You lived above R. S lives in the flat 1 3rd floor. This is a direct information. So flat 1 3rd floor, who is going to there? S is going to be there. V lives in a flat immediately west of T's flat, who lives just below P's flat. Please understand, this information is very vital for us. Okay, V lives in a flat to the immediate west of T's flat, whose always refers to the adjacent person. So I recommend leave those particular keywords, just remove those keywords and read it. T lives just below P. Just below P, T is going to be staying over here. So now this information is going to be very clear. Let me tell you one more time. V lives in a flat to the immediate west of T, and T lives just below P. This is what it is mentioning, right? Q lives in a flat immediately above W. Immediately above W, Q should be living, that is immediately. Now let us start this information. Let's go with this P. P is going to stay in what direction? Obviously even. So even, I can place him at either 1 or 2. So what is it saying? This one is the perfect one. T is going to stay here, and T's west side V should be there, and T's above P should be coming. So now please observe here. If I place T, above T, V should be coming. Is it possible? No. If I place T here, why I am asking you to place T here only? Because west side V should be coming. Not possible. Now if I place T here, west side is clearly possible, and if I place T here, V is going to come and P is going to come over here. But P should be staying in what? It is saying you that P should be staying in the even floor. So I have to bring T here in the first floor, second flat. West of T, V should be there, and above T immediately I have to bring P. Correct? Next, Q and W should be staying in the same way, Q and W. Correct? And now U and R. This is the way you have to bring, because R should be staying below U, or U should be staying above R. It is never mentioned immediate, but when it comes to Q and W, it is clearly given you in the last information. Q lives in a flat immediately above W. Immediately above W, that Q is going to stay here. Okay, this is what you need to understand. The perfect information is these two. Let's observe the questions. Who lives immediately below you? Immediately below you, it is yes. It's in the option number 3. In which flat does W lives? W lives in which flat? Flat number 2. That's in the flat number 2 along with the floor, that is 3rd floor. Okay, so you need to understand 3rd floor, flat 2. That's in the option number 2. 4 out of the following, then immediately you need to recognize this is definitely odd man out. U, Q, R, P, T. So please understand, U is in the even number or odd number? Yes, even number floor. U, Q, yes. R and P are in the same flats. U and Q, R and P are in the same flats. T is your answer because T is staying in a different flat. Next, who lives immediately east of S? Now east of S, who is actually staying? It's actually W is your answer. That's in the option number 2. Next one, let's see the next question. What does it say? Which of these statements is true? T lives on second floor. Now T lives on first floor. That's not a true. U and P live on the same floor. No, U and P are living on the different floor. V lives immediately below R. Immediately below R, V is staying. Yes, that's a definitely true. So that is my answer, option number 3. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is talking about a row arrangement of how many people? 6 people. Okay, very good. Now let's see what is it mentioning. It is known that A was seated second from the left hand. Very easy now. I understood 6 people are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now please say A was seated second from the left hand. So please understand, this is your left hand and this is your right hand. Okay. Second from the, so second person. So who is the second person? A was seated second from the left hand. C was to the immediate right of F. Immediate right of F, who is going to be there? C. Okay, I cannot use that information, so I'm just writing in a short way. But not seated at the end. That but is actually referring to C. So C cannot come at the end. You cannot bring C at the end. B was to the right of E and only one person seated between D and as well as E. It is clearly mentioning B was to the right of E. Right of E, I have to bring B, but it is never given immediately. And only one person was seated in between E and as well as D. There is only one person. I'm just going to write down that information. D was not adjacent to F. So D and F cannot sit adjacent to each other. They are not supposed to sit adjacent to each other. Okay. Who seated third to the right of D? Now that question can be answered only after solving this information. Now we got a direct information. E is seated over here. Now please observe, C cannot come at the end, but F's immediate right, C should be coming. Let's observe here. I cannot bring F here because immediate right is not vacant. Now if I bring F here, C is going to come, but C cannot sit at the end. So there is only one option for us, two options. If I place F here, C is going to come. F here, C is going to come. So always go from the corners only. Do not try to place it exactly in the middle. So let us start here, F and C. Correct. In between E and D there should be only one person, but D and F cannot sit together. So if I place E here, one person cannot be applied here, so I will try to write down D here. And who is the only person left over? B. Now understand, E is the right side, B is there. Yes, it is never mentioned immediately. Until unless it is not mentioned immediately. See, the best position, why did I choose F here only? Why not here? When you go from your right side or left side, whatever it is, the end, always go from the extreme position. Extreme positions are not vacant or you cannot place them. Then go step by step. Do not straight away go with the middle. Okay, it's not actually encourageable to going with the middle. So now what is it saying, the question? Who was seated third to the right of D? Very easy. 1, 2, 3. That's F. F is your answer. That clearly a 7-floor arrangement. So it is a puzzle. We need to understand here how many floors are there? 7. It's a universal fact that the least floor is going to be 1 and the topmost floor is going to be 7. 7 floors as that each floor was numbered 1 to 7. I can do possibility cases if I just write it down exactly. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Okay, each person lived on a different floor. Very good. Only one person lived between E and G. So let me write down this information. In between E and G, only one person is there. That information I'm just going to write it down over here so that for my future reference. Now let us observe. D lived below A. So D is going to live below A, but it is never mentioned immediately. So it's just below. Next, A and B are not immediate neighbors, so A and B cannot sit together, or they cannot be neighbors. Not neighbors, they are not neighbors. Next, 3 people live between B and E. Very good information. In between B and E, how many persons are going to stay? 3 persons are, it seems. G lived immediately below D. Immediately below D, I have to bring G immediately. It is mentioned. On an even number floor. On an even number floor is nothing but they are talking about G here. So G should be living on an even number floor and it should be staying immediately below D here. Next, F lived above C but below A. F lived above C but below A. This is what it is mentioning. I'll try to place B because a lot of information related with B. If I place B here, I will start from 1, but you can also place him at 2. Let us do the 2 possibilities at a time. B and E, 3 persons should be there. 1, 2, 3. I have to bring E here. Next one, let us go 1, 2, 3. E is going to stay here. Now if you closely observe, there are 3 persons in between B and E. So we got 1, 2, 3, and here also 1, 2, 3. But if you observe E and G, there is 1 person gap in between, and G should be staying in the even number floor. So now if I go 1 person here, G is going to come, or here, but both of them are not going to be an even number floor. So this possibility is ruled out. Now if you come with this possibility, I have to place G at 4th position, which is a even number. So this is going to be correct. Now let us move forward. G immediately above, I have to bring D. That's in the 5th position. Now let us see A and D. A is below only, D should be staying. So A is going to come at the 7th position. Am I correct? And there are 2 persons left over. Now in between A, F, C, let's observe F and C is going to come in this way. F should be staying below A and above C. This is the condition, we got it correct. So let's observe the question. E lives on what floor? E lives on what floor? 6th floor. That is in the second option. How many people lived between F and A? In between F and A, how many persons are there? 3 members are there. That's in the option number 2 here. Number of people living below D is same as the number of people living above whom. So number of persons living below D are how many? 4. So now above whom 4 members are there? It is F. Above F, you can see 4 members. So that is your answer. Next, which of the following is odd from the rest of the bases? Maybe it is based on their floor number. I think so. A is odd, B is even, C is odd, correct. D is also odd, and F is also correct, odd. So answer is B, because B is staying in the even number. That is your answer.